sidewalks, or if they're not proper crosswalks, many people are going to just be crossing the streets when they can cross the roads whenever they can. So I think in the coming months, we're going to want to sit down as a board and try to set up a vision for North Reading from what we can see, and to make some plans to see what we see the town in 5 years or 10 years and so on. A sidewalk committee or a pedestrian safety committee would play a key role in being able to give information that would make and allow the town of North Reading to grow evenly and safely. And it'll cover areas that you don't normally think about. And I think many of the examples that have been brought up here, for example, I don't recall if you mentioned, but I know you mentioned Park in Winter, but you have Park Street between Main and Winter. It's a terrible road, it's in bad shape. We know it's going to have to be fixed soon. And when that is done, it would be appropriate to have a sidewalk on that road for safety reasons, and it begins to connect the West Village to the rest of the town, which a lot of kids ride their bikes on that road. It's a very dangerous road because the fog line is so narrow, and there are more potholes on that fog line than any place. And so it's a very unsafe environment right then and there. And that's something that's going to come up. So if we want to be visionaries as far as safety is concerned and as far as pedestrians are concerned, sidewalks are going to play a very important part in our town, along with proper intersections. Like you mentioned, the Walmart light there. You know, you wonder how come no one thought about putting a crosswalk at that point. It's a crossover. Sidewalk ends northbound, and it's available on the on the other side, on the east side of the road. So you would think that the forethought would have been there, and the vision would have been there when they did this. And the question is, why not? And probably why not is there was no pedestrian safety advisory committee at that time. So that's one of the values of it.
Oh,
yes.
I could answer that if you want the answer.
Sure.
The state does not allow it because it's considered a mid-block crosswalk, and that's a state highway, and they won't allow you to do it.
What about the crosswalk up at the old Dunkin' Donuts? There's one there.
Across Main Street.
Across Main Street, yeah.
At the corner.
Yeah.
Right, there's two, there's the corner, and then, oh, I understand what you're saying now, okay, yeah, they're going across it, yeah.
But
the state won't allow it, that's.
No, I disagree with you.
Okay,
No,
okay. I did it for 25 years, but that's okay, you can disagree.
That wouldn't be considered a Main Street crossing.
Yeah.
What they would do is there would be a
Yep.
traffic study that they do since they tested that
Right.
the proper location.
I'm not opposed to it, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm just giving the answer as why I know they, you know, that they won't allow it.
I think you'll get confused. I don't think people want to cross Main Street. I think they want to travel north and south on Main Street.
Yeah.
And I
Well,
think they would,
yeah.
that's where they want the pedestrian housing.
Yeah.
For people going across the highway
Right.
lot, the driveway, not across Main Street, not across Main Street.
But anyway, so.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. So that, you know, I mean, that's it in a nutshell. It's something that can be utilized when we start to have a vision for North Reading and what it's going to look like in the future. You know, what elements of the community can be taken advantage of to make that vision a reality, and a good one as well. And I think the Pedestrian Safety Advisory Committee would be very helpful in that area.
Any board members have comment at this point?
Yeah,
Sure.
I am all in favor of doing this. I have no problem with setting up the committee. I'm a little disappointed, though, because I mentioned it before, and I don't see the police department on here.
I knew I missed somebody.
Well, that's what's before me right now, and
You
I
know-
don't see the police
Wait a
department.
minute, I added them, so let me just.
I don't see
Yeah.
them on
They're
here.
not on your list?
No, yeah, I mean,
Please, DPW, please.
Blame it on
Okay, blame it on me. I did not include it. You know, I was trying to make an odd number.
PowerPoint,
Yeah.
they are there.
Okay. All right, police department
Yeah,
is
no,
added.
they-
I had them before. I had them on the last one.
yeah, no, I didn't see it.
Okay.
Now,
If,
now, Now, are they down as a voting member or a non-voting member?
No, I just had outreach, I don't have them included in, I don't have that, I'm sorry, I don't have that copy of the sheet right with
Well,
me, but
yeah,
I assume
that's
the
what I gave
safety
you.
officer would definitely be involved
Yeah.
in the pedestrian, because they would bring up the issues in regards to safety issues.
Well, I mean, would he be appointed as a voting member, I guess is my question.
Yeah,
However you
No, I'm just
decide-
asking, that's,
However the committee is
decide to.
formed, I mean, I would say they would be an important member, if not
Yeah.
a voting member.
well, I feel they should be a voting member also, but that's a, you know, well, I want to know what I'm doing before I approve it, actually.
right.
Well, I mean, again, I haven't looked at the sheet recently, I was thinking we were gonna go forming the committee and then decide who was gonna be voting or not, but I don't know what that procedure is.
We kind of decide that.
Well, yeah, we kind of decided.
Yeah, that's what I thought, is
Yeah,
that you would
yeah,
decide that
yeah.
it was okay to have a committee and
Yeah.
then decide who would be the voting members.
We're here just to advise on.
Yeah, no, believe me, I'm in favor of the committee, I'm just, I didn't see the police department there. I guess the only other thing I would like to say, and I know we said it before, I mean, I think that's a great idea, that sidewalk on Park Street from Winter out to Maine. But I'm gonna be honest, there probably won't be money to do it. As long as the committee understands that, I mean, you're gonna have some fantastic ideas, but there's gonna be no funds there to do it. And if they understand that,
Well, Joe,
Right,
I think that, the way I look at this is, and the way it's proposed here, I think, is very well thought out. The first thing they're planning on tackling is snow removal on streets and sidewalks and updating the bylaw. As we all know, there was a lot of confusion
Right.
last winter on that issue. And work with local and regional organizations as well as businesses to share ideas and plans to create safe, enjoyable walking environment. I suspect a committee like this going off what they're doing, they're gonna find some sources of funds for some of these projects. So, obviously, if there's no money, it won't happen.
right.
But at the
That's-
same
that's-
time,
that's all- that's
at the
all I-
same
yeah.
time, if there are grants out there or money to chase and there's an active group out there doing it, all the better.
All the better.
And
I
if they're
agree.
volunteering and we're not paying
mean,
for it, all the better.
But what I'm saying is, that if the money can't be gotten outside or inside,
Then
you
it-
know.
then it doesn't
It won't
happen.
happen, yeah.
Hey,
That's all.
Joe, if I may answer that, we understand the word as advisory. I mean, that's our role, is to advise. There are circumstances that go beyond our control. I think our school buildings are a good example. We need a new school, we start a secondary school committee, and it dies. And then another opportunity comes along, and it's reawakened. So, as an advisory committee, we realize that circumstances can be beyond our control. And, but what we can do is be in place for when an opportunity does arise, we're prepared to address it. And that would be an important role of the committee, so that if something comes up that we had mentioned 2 years ago, for example, and it resurfaces, we'd be on top of it and refresh your memory and say, hey, I think you're in a position to do this now. I just want to refresh your memory, and so on. So I think that's the important role, is to be able to respond to certain circumstances as they arise. And that requires vision.
Almost like-
Any other comments? Steve?
Yeah, I just, I think it's a good idea and it's nice. It needs to be addressed. Again, my only concern is clear understanding, as other members have pointed out, as far as the ability to see some of these ideas come to fruition. Over the years, it's been, this has not been, it has not risen to the priority level where it's jumped over other projects. And there have been some lost opportunities, absolutely, where we could have got some private people to pay for some public benefits. But that being said, we've also, over the years, benefited significantly by private development contributing to this particular cause. We currently do enjoy now pretty much all the way around Ipswich River Park, so you go Central Street, Chestnut Street, Haverhill Street all the way around the center of town is pretty much now all connected by sidewalks, and that was a concerted effort on everybody's part here within Town Hall to ensure that that took place, whether it be through local development, rehab of 28, and also with Reading Municipal Light, when they were looking to put in some of the utilities and the gas company too. We got them on the hook for putting some sidewalks together. So it hasn't been totally been lost over the years. My biggest concern, again, is having people expend a significant amount of energy and resources, personal resources, and get frustrated with us. And I've sat here for a lot of years, and some of the criticism has been justified, but others somewhat unjustified, to the point where, we can't do everything that every interest group wants to have done. While this may be a priority for you or whoever gets on this organization or this group, it might not be the highest priority that we have to deal with. And so I get concerned about the frustration level with volunteers, unless they come in with eyes wide open and clearly understand that we're all on board with the mission, but executing it sometimes is very difficult. So, I mean, that's my only caution as far as moving hastily with this. We do have some immediate issues that need to be addressed. I don't know that they need to be addressed by a pedestrian safety committee in relation to redoing the bylaws. I think that's something that should be handled internally between Department of Public Works, Public Safety, and the administration on the snow removal, in concert with particular interest groups to get it done. But, so I'm not opposed to it. I'm in support of it, but I want to be cautious and want to caution the people that are going to get involved. And I might want to tweak a little bit who the membership is, and who has a vote and who doesn't, or maybe understand why there are the suggestions, what some of the suggestions are, but we can get into that later, I guess.
Sean?
I was gonna say,
You want to respond?
oh, no, you go ahead. Okay.
I just echo the comments of Mr. Vino and Mr. O'Leary. Appreciate the time and effort you put in and your willingness to put more time in. But I just caution you that if we can't do what you would like us to do, we probably would agree that all those things should be done, putting in sidewalks and so forth, but if the finance isn't there, it just can't be done. And hopefully, and I'm in support of your committee, but hopefully you can find us some money so that we can do the things that need to be done. I just don't want to see a group come, start with a lot of energy, and then get disappointed when we can't execute on what will be probably very good ideas, just because the financial end of it is not there. So, that's what I have to say. But thank you.
Jeff?
Yeah. Again, just to reassure you on your concerns about frustration and anxiety through a committee, it's an advisory committee, and that's an important word. I understand the word. I understand the role that the committee can play. Again, to reassure you that our intent is to present information to help the Board of Selectmen make better decisions about the pedestrian environment of our community. That's all. The onus of the decision-making really falls on our hands. It's something that we have to live with, okay? For a committee to be persuasive and to share their ideas, that's good, that's input. But we understand if there are economic environments or circumstances that just don't allow for something to happen, that doesn't mean we don't plan for it. That's very important. It's important to plan for things. And, but as far as being frustrated, well, maybe people would get frustrated, but as far as not respecting the process, that won't happen with this committee. We will understand the process and we will act accordingly. Now, you had questions about the structure of the membership, Steve?
Yes. Just as far as the role that this committee could play, it's fine, it's an advisory committee, maybe put together by this board, but I see it more as an advisory committee to the Planning Commission, who has direct input in relation to subdivisions or even individual plans that are put forth for consideration where you can extract some sort of resources from private enterprise.